recording this and do this demo. Okay, what Accudemia is a web-based system. And some of you are using AccuTrack out there. Some of you are using other systems. We make both AccuTrack and Accudemia, and in some ways they're very similar, and in some ways they're totally different. The big difference is Accudemia is web-based. So we're hosting the data on our server. We're babysitting the data. We do all the upgrades, all the updates, and we take care of the data. With Accudemia, we use Amazon.com. I'm sure most of you have heard of that. Amazon.com is our server that we use to host it, and they have firewalls, and you can also add SSL encryption to keep your data even more secure. So it's a good server to be on. These are the people behind Accudemia. So when you call in on the phone or email, you're talking to one of us here. These two are the programmers, and Mon here is the owner of the company. What Accudemia is a web-based system for tracking your students and managing your centers, a lot like AccuTrack does. So basically, you know, if a student shows up in the center and says, hey, I'm here, I need tutoring, or I need advising or counseling, you know, you can help them, and it will track that visit. It will also do appointments, so students can make appointments in advance, and they can do those online with Accudemia. If you want them to, you can turn that on or off, but a student can come in and show up for an appointment. It will track that too. Accudemia will also track classroom attendance. So if you're doing things like, say, ESL classes where you have, you know, these 30 students have to be in room 101 at 10 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays, and if they're not, you want them to be counted absent, Accudemia will also do that. That's called the class attendance system, so that's built in too. If you're doing heavy-duty class attendance, not just a couple of classes, but you're doing them all over the college, we have another product for that called AccuClass. Okay? Accudemia can be used as a service or installed on your own servers, but to be honest, about 99% of the people have us host it on our servers. The reason being that it puts most of the work on us instead of on your IT department, and it's also cheaper to have us host it than for you to host it yourself. But it is available both ways. The big advantage of a web-based system is it's available anytime, anywhere. So you can share this database campus-wide, college-wide, even worldwide, just depending on what your license agreement is. So if you buy a college-wide license and you have campuses in other countries, they can use it also. Okay? Students can schedule appointments from home, but you can turn that on or off, and you can turn it on or off per center. So you might have multiple centers sharing Accudemia, like, say, student support services, counseling, advising, and then maybe financial aid and athletics are also sharing it. And each of those centers can have their own screens. So when a student logs in, they see just the screen for that center, their own subjects, and also their own rules. So like student support services might say, yeah, students can schedule appointments from home, but counseling might say, no, they need to call in. And so counseling can turn that feature off in their center, whereas student support can leave it on in theirs. So Accudemia is very good for using with multiple centers in a more complex setup. With Accudemia, you have unlimited surveys. Students can complete them at any time. They can and you can set them up to come up at different ways, maybe on the sign-in stations or at sign-out, or you can make them come up online. It's going to be up to you whether or not your students can access Accudemia online, but if you allow it, the students will be able to do a single sign-on right through your college website, log into Accudemia, and then you can allow them to do things like set or cancel appointments, or you can turn that on or off, pull reports on themselves, see any upcoming announcements for the college and that kind of thing. The reports are going to be accessible from anywhere as long as you have the right login credentials to get to it and you have a web browser. You will be able to get to your reports. You can set up unlimited access levels, so different people could have different access. Like you could say, okay, Mary's allowed to have access to everything. Tom can get in and see, you know, pull reports and sign students in and out, but that's all I want him doing. So you can put different rules for different people, and it's very easy to do in this program. You can also remotely view who's signed into your facility. For those of you that use AccuTrack, you're familiar with the Who Is In button. That's also there in Accudemia, but the neat thing is in Accudemia, you can log in remotely. You can log in from home and see who is in, which is nice. Okay, one of the big advantages is that you don't need a lot of IT support with Accudemia because we're handling all the data. You will need IT for a couple of things. One is to give you the data or to have them either export the file or hand you whatever data you want to input, unless you want to upload it from some spreadsheet you have or something. And the other thing you'll need them for is if you decide to put Accudemia on your college website, but that takes about 20 minutes. So you really, really don't need very much IT support. Getting up and running normally takes about 2 to 4 hours on the phone with me. Once that's done, adding new workstations is literally like 2 minutes. So you can add new workstations or sign-in stations as you need. You can add and remove them. If you're having a big event, you might add 10 of them today, and then tomorrow take them back down. Okay, it's very easy. You don't need to buy any expensive servers or databases or demand your IT department. If you're having us host it, you won't need these things. If you host it yourself, then you will. Okay. Support and updates are all included, and basically you just need a web browser to get to it. It's very customizable, a lot like some of our other programs. You click things on or off and set up the settings, and that's one of the reasons it takes between 2 and 4 hours when we set it up, because we go through all the settings and we load all your data and all that. But you can change them on the fly at any time. So if you don't like the way we set it and you want to change it, you can just go in and change it. You don't need us to do it. We will help you if you need it, but you don't have to. Okay. Pretty much it's a very, very user-friendly program, and I find people learn this program quicker than our other programs. I guess maybe because it's web-based, it doesn't require as much training. People tend to gravitate towards it and learn it much, much faster. Now, as you can see, you can individualize your center. So as you see on the screen here, I have 5 different centers showing. And each of these centers has its own screen, its own subjects, and its own rules, even though they're all sharing the same database. So each of these centers can have their own customizations, and you're only doing 1 upload per night, and that can be happening automatically while you're sleeping. All right. Some of the nice features in Accudemia, new sign-in stations is basically 2 minutes. When you use the appointment system in Accudemia, you can have students, you can allow students to set their own appointments, or you can say no, they have to call the center. But if you do allow it, and even if you don't allow it and you have staff members doing it, notifications will go out to the student and the staff member involved that this appointment has been set. Those will go out via email. The student will also get an automatic reminder, hey, don't forget your appointment in the center today. And all that happens on the Accudemia server, so there's no email stuff to set up. All you need to do is put the student's email in the Accudemia database and it'll work. Okay. So you don't have to worry about the IIS server and all that other stuff you have to worry about with some of the other programs. The automatic reminders, they go out as an email, but you can also make them go out as a text message to the student's cell phone. Okay, so they'll get it no matter where they are, which is nice. There's a custom home page that you can turn on or off for each user. And that home page, you can either make it private or make it accessible. If you allow the students to log in online to it, they can do things like set or cancel appointments from home. They can pull reports only on themselves, not on anyone else, but they can pull a report and say, oh, have I been in the math lab enough? And they can, take that report to the professor. They can see any college announcements, and they can see any messages you've left for them there. All the reports in Accudemia can be exported to a PDF or an Excel file, and actually several other file types. Accudemia has some really nice reports. They're not customizable as far as changing the graphics and the fonts, but they are customizable in the way that you can filter them multiple ways. You can filter them by student, by staff, by time frame, by subject, by almost anything. And you can make student groups, so you can say just, how many Gear Up students came into the center, or how many disability students have used this subject, that kind of thing. And the groups are unlimited. Students can be members of multiple groups, and you can upload the groups or build them manually. They're very easy. They take about 5 minutes to build. So if they're a big group, then you want to upload them because they'll take longer than 5 minutes. Okay, things that Accudemia does. A lot of these are similar to AccuTrack. Some are different. Okay, so I'll kind of point them out as I go along. It does track student visit, time in, time out, who they met with, what subject or service type they were there for, how long, all that. So your basic sign in, sign out report. It will also track service. Service is just something that's tied to the visit. So in other words, if I click on Algebra 101, you might have a service type called online tutoring versus walk-in tutoring, or a service type called writing area versus tutoring area. So you can make up your service types to whatever you want them to be, but you will be able to pull your reports by them. Accudemia also will track staff work hours. It will manage appointments online, so you can turn that on or off. And so staff or students can set appointments online. It will collect feedback via surveys. The surveys can be at the workstations or online, so you can make them come up whichever way you want. You can also do demographic questionnaires. You have unlimited demographic questions that you can put in. You can also upload into them. You can also track attendance to classrooms. Now, another thing you can do with Accudemia that it's not real evident here without me pointing it out is when you're tracking student visits, they don't have to come into the center if you don't want them to. Now, it would have to be a staff member, not a student, because you don't want a student logging in from home saying they were in the center when they weren't. Okay, but you could have, like, say, a staff member. Say you have a tutoring appointment that's happening at Starbucks on a Sunday afternoon. So the tutor goes into Starbucks, they take their laptop. They log in via the Wi-Fi, log into Accudemia, sign the student in, do the tutoring session, and when they're done, sign the student out, and everything's in Accudemia. There's no data to dump later or anything to keep track of. So that's one of the nice things about an online system is that you can allow staff members to log students in remotely. Okay, another thing it does, I think I already covered this a little, but it tracks groups of students, so you can make as many groups as you need to, and students don't have to say, hey, I'm an at-risk student when they come into the center, but you'll still be able to pull a report and say how many at-risk students came in. You will need to get the groups in there either by upload or by manually building them, but once they're in there, and you can pull reports by them. Accudemia also keeps a log or session notes. They're called session notes if you're using our other product, AccuTrack. But basically, when you meet with somebody, you can type in notes about what happened. And then the administrator is going to be able to pull a report and say, hey, what's going on with Johnny, and see what all the staff members have said when they met with Johnny. So you have a running synopsis of what's going on with that student. You can click and see who's currently signed in. And once again, you can do this remotely. One of the big pluses of Accudemia is anything you can do when you're at work, you could also do from home or from a conference or anywhere you are, as long as you have a web browser to log into it. Okay. There's a custom homepage where you can post announcements. We discussed that a little earlier. And there's also an early warning system. This is unique to Accudemia. AccuTrack does not have this, nor does AccuTrack have the homepage, actually. But the early warning system, what it is a place where you can keep track of things that need followed up on so they don't fall through the cracks. In other words, I can make early warning forms for tutoring, counseling, advising, financial aid, whatever I need to. And when I build an early warning form, I tie people to it. So like if I build a tutoring early warning form, I might tie it to the tutor coordinator and the tutoring center director. And then when somebody initiates that form, those two people will automatically be copied on it, and as it gets followed up on, they will both be copied on it until it gets closed out. So you can make all kinds of early warning forms, and you will always be able to keep track of what's going on, because the administrator can log in and see what is going on, what's late, what's outstanding that needs done, what's closed out, who needs followed up on here, who needs a tutor that hasn't been assigned, whatever it is that you want to use the early warning system for. And if a student's not doing well, did they get their tutoring? Did we follow up with them? Did we do everything we could do? So you can basically look in there and see it in a nutshell what's going on. Now, if you're a tutor, you will only see your own early warnings unless you've been giving more access. If you're a professor, because you can allow professors to log in, then a professor could also log in and see what's going on, but they will only see their own students unless you give them a higher access level, which you can do if you want to. Okay. All the reports in Accudemia can be generated at the click of a button, and you'll see that when we get in there. ID readers, these are optional. They normally will work with your existing student ID card. We just need to, if you're not sure about your ID card, you can mail us one, we can test it and mail it back to you. But basically these two readers, the one on the left and the one in the middle, are barcode readers, and they'll work with barcodes. The big difference, this one's $194, this one in the middle is $338. The one in here on the left, you have to get right in front of it. Works fine, just, you got to stand there or get up close and it'll blip it. The one here in the middle, you can be a couple feet out and just kind of blip your ID by and it will pick it up. So, hence the price difference, okay? Over here on the right, we have a mag strip reader, so it reads the magnetic strips like this. If you want a mag strip reader that reads all 3 tracks, because there are actually 3 tracks on this magnetic strip, they run $99. We also have mag strips that run $89 that read only 2 tracks. If you're not sure where your ID is, you can ask IT, or you can email us, or you can mail us one, we can test it and mail it back. Okay, and down below we have a mag strip reader built into a keyboard. That's just a space saver. You can also leave a keyboard out if you like. Some people don't, and some people do. It's an option. And then up above we have an iPhone or iPod Touch. That's also an option with Accudemia. And basically the iPhone or iPod Touch, what it does is it allows attendance tracking even when you don't have internet access. So basically you can log in remotely to Accudemia with any computer, but if you don't have internet, the computer won't log in. If you have an iPhone, iPod Touch, or iPad, it will, because there's an application that you can download from the Apple Store. You install it on your iPhone. It's free. And then it will track the attendance, and then it'll dump it back into Accudemia when you get back in a Wi-Fi area. So these things are great for portable attendance tracking. They're great if your internet goes down a lot or something. Probably about 25% of my Accudemia clients use these. I have a lot of people using them for different things. And then we also have a lot of people using them for conference tracking with our other program, Conference Tracker. But this is an option you can add at any time. So all of these are just different types of card readers. These all hook up to a computer. This one on the far right, doesn't, obviously. It just dumps it via Wi-Fi. On the far left also is a fingerprint reader. That's really for testing centers and that kind of thing, but those also can be added at any time. And once again, this is what the iAccu looks like. One other thing to point out, if you're going to use an Apple device with Accudemia, you can add a card reader like I have here. See, you can type the student's ID up here on the keypad. You can swipe a magnetic strip, or if you have a barcode, like in this picture, I don't know why they put a barcode on that because that's actually a mag reader up there, but if you have a barcode, you can take a picture of it using the iPhone, and that will also scan the student's in, so you don't actually have to buy any kind of a barcode reader. It'll just be part of the iPhone. Okay, these are just pictures of students signing in, and it looks the same on AccuTrack and Accudemia, so I think a lot of these stations are actually AccuTrack, but the sign-in process is exactly the same as it would be on a lot of other programs. Okay, when a student signs in, you can allow students to sign themselves in, you can have staff sign them in, or you can have a mix going on all at the same time, and it's going to be up to you. The students can either type their ID on the keyboard or they can swipe it. And as you can see here, like this is actually a learning center in Texas. And right here they have a sign-in station with a sign, please sign in here. And the student walks up and they just wave their ID in front of this barcode reader. It's going to fill in on the screen and proceed to sign them in. So you can set these up different ways, but as you can see, they left a keyboard, and so the student can also type their ID to sign in. What they did that's a bit unique is over to the left here, the student has 2 monitors. One's hooked up to the other station so she can see what they're doing and intervene and help out if she needs to. You don't really need to do that, but you can do it if you want. And also, I'd like to point out a lot of centers have more than one sign-in station. You might have 5 sign-in stations by the door, and the students can sign in on one and out on the other. Or you might have them by multiple doorways, and that's fine. Okay. Now, when you buy Accudemia, it includes us hosting the application. So we keep it on our database. Our server is on Amazon.com, so it's actually a server in Virginia with firewalls and all that, RAID backups. And we do offer SSL encryption. So the data is protected, and we're bound by FERPA laws just like you guys are. Okay. Support is done via telephone, email, and we have an online support forum. And software upgrades are automatically included. Now, one thing they recently added are free webinars, and we're doing this on all our products now. So not like the salesy webinar like I'm doing now, but webinars that are training webinars. And any of our clients can go to the training webinars on any of our products, and we're recording those and putting them online. So you can go on YouTube and find them, or you can contact us and we'll give you the link to get to them. But basically, we help you set the system up. It takes between 2 and 4 hours to get the data loaded, go through all the settings. And one of the beautiful things about Accudemia is I can actually put you on a trial, and you can try it before you buy it. But you will have to spend 2 to 4 hours on the phone with me to get it set up. And I don't mind doing that at all, but you just have to schedule it. So if you guys want a trial, let us know. We'll get you a trial. Also, if you want pricing, just shoot me an email, and we'll get you pricing out so you know what it runs. But to give you an idea, a small center license, meaning you're a single center with a single location, and you do under 12,000 visits or sign-ins a year. That would run $990 a year, so it's very affordable. And there's a lot of different licenses. A small college with under 5,000 full-time enrolled students is $2,500 a year. And then they go up from there. But yeah, as you can see, it's quite affordable. And that includes your support, your training, your setup, all that. The only thing that you might want to add is the SSL encryption, which is $250 more a year, so it's not much. But the support on Accudemia is very quick. We have a lot more programmers that run it, so they have an average response time of about 22 minutes. They're very, very quick. And, we do everything we can to get you up and running and going, and you're usually running on it before you even buy it. So just let me know if you guys want a demo or you want a trial. Now, I'm going to end this PowerPoint, and I'm going to go into my Accudemia. So give me 1 second here. Here we go. Okay, what you're looking at now is my login screen or my sign-in station for Accudemia. My Accudemia actually has about 20 different centers in it, and they all have different screens. But I told my computer that it was in the tutoring center, so it's booting to the tutoring center screen. Now, what's going to happen, this is going to work just, a lot like any other program. The student's going to swipe their ID or type it to sign in. Now, this ID does not have to show on the screen. I can make it show just asterisks. I just like to see what I'm typing, and I'm in a demo database, so it doesn't really matter. But you can actually have it show just asterisks, and you can also change it. It does not have to be 9 digits. It can be 4 to 30 characters, I think it is. So you have a lot of room, or we can change the ID format to whatever your existing college ID format is. Okay, but basically the student walks up, they swipe their ID, they hit enter, and then it pops up and says, why are you here? Now, if you have really slow internet, like I do today, it's going to take a while to load. If you have fast internet, like most colleges do, it'll load fast. And you'll see that if I put you on a trial, because like I said, the trials are free. You'll see how fast it is on your system. It'll be way faster than mine. The other thing is you can tell it to ask all this stuff or just some of it. See, I'm going to have mine ask what subject are you here for, what service type, what instructor, what staff member. But you might have another center, like say a study hall, where you don't care about all this. You just care they were there or not. So they just swipe their ID and it doesn't ask anything and they walk in. And then you might have another center, like say writing center, and you just care what subject. So they just click on the subject and walk in. So you can set these up to come up or not come up, or come up on sign in or sign out. Like I could have 2 come up on sign in and 2 on sign out. It's really all just settings that we do when we set you up. But let's say I'm going in for C++ tutoring, let's say, and meeting with my staff member Tom here. Now another thing I can do, you guys, is I can load registration so it only shows the stuff I'm registered for when I sign in. Okay, so you can turn that on or off. It's really up to you. And you can turn it on or off per center. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit sign in. And like I said, this is just going to work pretty much like any other sign in, sign out, this part. So the student has signed in, and then it's timing them. And so now I'm going to be able to get a report, and I will be able to sort that report by, first of all, how many hours has Mary Ober spent in the center, what subjects was she there for, you know, or how many people came in for math, or how many of this instructors, you know, are sending their students to the center, you know, all that kind of thing. But when Mary gets done, she's going to swipe her ID again and sign out, and this will sign her out. And if there's any surveys that I've set to come up at sign in or sign out, they'll come up at sign in or sign out. Right now I don't have any. But I can turn surveys on. They're unlimited. They can come up sign in, sign out. They can come up just for certain groups of students. They can come up on the internet only if you want. And that's another nice thing. If you have them come up on the internet, when the student logs in on the home page, they can be at home, they can do the survey, and it'll automatically go back in your database, and you can get your reports, which is nice. Okay. Now I'm going to sign in for a second as a tutor or a staff member, because it could be an advisor, a counselor, right, or whatever. And notice it acts different. It's going to say, do you want to sign in as staff or sign in as student? So obviously I could do student, and it's going to go through the normal student sign in. If I click staff, it's going to go through the normal staff sign in. So basically, why are you here? Scheduled work, you know, or whatever. So basically, it's smart enough to know that I'm both a student and a staff member. And you can add multiple access levels. I could be a student, staff member, and an instructor, and a system user if I want. You know, it's going to be up to you what levels you give to what people. What I'm doing now is I'm going to go behind this. And notice I have a little icon up here that says a clipboard. I'm going to go to the house. And what happens is that means I'm trying to go to the home page. It's going to be up to you whether or not students can go to the home page from your center, or whether or not they can go to the home page from home. Okay, I'm going in as an administrator because I want to go back here and show you all the stuff. So I'm going in as somebody that has access to everything in the entire system. Okay, and remember, we were at the tutoring center sign-in screen when we logged in. I'm sitting in Orlando. I'm logging into a server that's in Virginia on the Amazon.com server. Okay, that's where all my data is. Okay, these are my college announcements that just loaded, and they're going to show for everybody, no matter what their access level is. Okay, but what won't show is all this stuff over here. If I'm a student, I'm going to have about 3 things over here, you know, set appointment, cancel appointment if you allow them to cancel, pull reports on my own activity, you know, that kind of stuff. If I'm a tutor, I'll have a little bit more, and then everybody else will have whatever access level you've given them. But one of the big important things about Accudemia I want to show you is this, the sign-in stations and locations. As you can see, I have a lot of centers and campuses sharing the same database, and I love that about this program because the setup's so easy. And I can even set you up like this in a trial if you guys want a trial. But as you can see, all these guys are sharing the same database, but every single one of these centers and classrooms has a different screen and different subjects showing. And right now, my computer thinks it's right here in Student Support Services, so it's why it booted to the Student Support Services screen. But if I go to the Madison Library, I'm going to have a totally different looking screen with library books on it and stuff. Okay, and then just library subjects. So every bit of the setup is unique to the center. And if I go like here to my control panel, and you don't have to remember all this because we do it when we set it up with you, but I just want to show you real quick. See how I have all these different like walk-ins and appointments. I can set different rules for each of the centers. So like each of the centers can have totally, like one center might say, well, they're allowed to cancel appointments on us up to 15 minutes before the appointment, and another center might say no, they have to do it a day before, and another center might say, well, we don't make appointments, or they can't cancel them, or whatever, you know. So you get the idea. But that's one of the neat things about Accudemia is that all of these centers and classrooms can be having their own rules, and they're only doing one automated upload at night. Now, you don't have to automate that upload, okay, but it is the ideal way. And it just is a normal, comma delimited CSV Excel type file. You know, so if you're on Banner or PeopleSoft or DataTel or any of the standard systems out there, they'll put that out. And you just have to ask IT, can you put that to the hard drive every night? And if they can, Accudemia is going to grab it and import it every night while you're sleeping. Okay. If they can't give it to you, there are other ways to get data in there. One of them is having the program ask the student or ask you. Another way is if you have it in an old Excel sheet or something, we can upload from that. So there's a lot of ways to do it. And you can ask me on an individual basis later if you need to, any questions on that. I'll be opening up for questions in a couple minutes here. But I do want to show you a couple of reports real quick. Now, Accudemia has reports on several buttons. I have reports up here at the top. I have some down here at the bottom, and I have some in the middle. And they're all a little bit different. If you're using AccuTrack, Accudemia has the real important reports like AccuTrack has 0 visits, all the attendance reports, appointment reports, and you can sort them, by filter them by student, subject, instructor, time frame, student group, so you can filter multiple ways. It has the chart visit. Traffic analysis is the same as your chart visit report. And let's just look at that real quick. And basically it'll build all these charts and graphs for you. You just have to say, what time frame you want it for. Now, one of the things that's nice in Accudemia that you don't have in AccuTrack is you can have your old semesters in here. In AccuTrack, you have to point back to the old database and restart and then, access it. Unless you're smaller, then you might be able to access your older data for a while. In Accudemia, it'll keep all your old data. What happened here is I did my fall 2008 semester, and then in 2009 I made a 5-year semester, so I'm still on my 5-year semester. And I did that so that I would have more data because I'm in a demo database. But if I actually set them up every semester, they would all be in here, and I can access my old semesters at any time that I want to. Okay, but I actually want to have a lot of data because I'm in a demo database and I don't use it as much as you guys. So I went ahead and set it up this way. So that'll take a minute to run. Now notice while it's running, I have the option to email me when complete. So I can say, go ahead and send it to me on an email. I don't really need to do that though, because if I go here to history, my reports are in there from the last 30 days. And you can already, like when you get a report, you can save it off, you can email it, you can do whatever you want. So it comes out of the system easy enough. But let's say that I'm at a conference and I run a report and I don't have a printer. Well, when I get back to the office, I want to find it. All I have to do is come back over here. Like here's a traffic analysis I ran on 11/29. So all I have to do is click on it and I can open this thing and I can print it out right now. So this one opens up in Excel. This is the traffic analysis report. And if you have AccuTrack, you know what, you're probably familiar with the chart visit report. It's the same kind of thing. And it just builds a bunch of charts and graphs based on your center data. So right here I can look at this and see that, I had a lot of people sign into C++, PC Windows, and the ACT test was also a big thing. Creative writing, I might need more tutors. And I also have one called unspecified. And the reason I have that is that I allowed students to sign in without choosing a subject. So if you do that, you will get a thing called unspecified on your report, which is why I don't like to allow them to sign in without having to choose something. You can make it also default to like study hall or something like that. Okay, so which would be the ideal way, but it really depends because I can also sort this report by location, which is really nice. I can say just show me the traffic analysis for the study hall, or just show me the visits to, the RAID center or whatever you want, whatever you've got there. But you can run this report and you'll get all kinds of data. You're going to also get the numbers behind the data. So I have a chart and I have a list. So I can look at any of those. Visits by the hour or by day of the week. This shows me my busy days and my slow days and, what's really going on in the center here. So I can look at this and show my boss that we don't really need to be open all weekend because as you can see, nobody ever signs in on Saturday. And Sunday it's very little, so maybe a half a day on the weekend or something would be good. But I'm not going to take you through all these. There's a ton of charts and graphs here. I will show you real quick one more, and that's the returns. And it's actually easier to look at the list than the chart. But this just shows me how many people came in once, how many came back twice, how many came back, 3 times, etc. So how many people are reusing the center. So it looks like I don't have a lot of reuse going on here, so I might want to do something to find out why. Okay. Let me close that up here. Now the chart visit, it opens up in Excel automatically, but other reports can be exported to Excel if you want, or they can be opened up just in a PDF or whatever. Because see up here at the top, I can tell it. Excel, PDF, or if I do CSV, because Excel's a formatted file. It has like all the headers and the colors and all that, but you might want just a CSV file so you can work with the data. So that's what this is. And you can run any report that way if you want. And then, of course, you can put them in Word or something else if you want. But let's just run one to the CSV. Let's say current semester, all the visits. And let's see if I don't click any of these on, I'm getting all the people who came to all the centers. But I could say, you know, just show me this center and say, you know, I just want to see student support or whatever. And if I do that, then it's just going to show that center's data instead of everybody. Right now I want to show everybody, though, so that I have a lot of data. So I'm just going to say View Report. And what it will do is it will open up Microsoft Excel and it will dump that data out. And I can say email me when complete, and it'll just attach that email and send it to me. Okay. So while that's building, I'm going to open you guys up for questions. I hear a little feedback on the line, so you might want to turn your speakers down a little bit. But if any of you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And also, if any of you want, you know, a trial or something, all you have to do is email me later and say, hey, we want to get on a trial. And it'll take about a couple hours on the phone, you know, to get you going, 2 to 4 hours. Right here's my file. It just came out in Excel, and as you can see, you know, it's all there. Basically, and there's a lot of rows because I've had a lot of visits, but basically any report in here can be exported to Excel if you need to. All right, and I noticed a couple of you came in late, so if you have any questions, let me know. You can also type them if you have any, if you want to type. I see Loretta doesn't have any. Loretta, and I see a couple other people that logged in a little bit later, Jennifer and somebody else here. If you guys do decide you want a live online demo just for your group, it's no problem to do. All you have to do is shoot us an email or schedule it with us, and we'll do it. Also, if any of you want pricing, you can shoot me an email. And I do, for any of the Accutrack clients, because some of you are using Accutrack, I do have a sheet I can email you that shows some of the differences between the two programs if you would like that. I'm kind of just clicking around in here in case it brings up any questions for anybody, because nobody's had any yet. But as you can see, it's very similar in a lot of ways to Accutrack, and in some ways totally different. It's a lot more webby, which I like. And on your home page, when you paste your announcements, you can put in graphics and fonts, and you can even put in animations on there if you want to. And the same thing with your sign-in page. You can put, you know, whatever graphics on there that you want. So normally, I actually got a new monitor, so it's a little oversized. It should run about like that. But normally you're going to put like the college logo or whatever on there. Okay. All right. If anybody doesn't have any other questions, if you do have questions, type them to me or you know, speak to me, and I will let you know. Otherwise, we'll kind of wrap it up. Thank you, Loretta.